Hello to the students of Montclair Elementary School and to the teachers also. My name is John Ryman, and I'm running for mayor of the city of Oakland. You ask what are the roles and responsibilities of the mayor? Well, the mayor appoints the people that run the different agencies of the city and appoints the city manager. But there's another responsibility also. Another role, and that is when a mayor speaks, a lot more people listen. And that gets to the second question that you ask: why do you think you would be the best for this position? Because let's just think about, for instance, when Donald Trump was president. A lot of what he did and a lot of his influence wasn't just about who he appointed or what bills he signed, but just the speeches that he gave. And if he had just been an ordinary person, those speeches wouldn't have had much effect. But as the president, they had a lot of effect. And in my opinion, the effect was entirely negative. It encouraged hatred, it encouraged racism, and it encouraged a kind of thinking lack of thinking and just responding purely on the emotions of anger and hatred and so on. And so he kind of helped to build a movement that I think is very dangerous for us and our future. So my campaign for mayor, I see the mayor as playing a similar role, but the opposite of Trump. I think, and that also leads to the next question, why do you think you would be the best for this position? Because I'm the only candidate who explains that, look, what happens in Oakland, it doesn't just start here in Oakland. Take, for instance, the number one issue for your generation, which is global warming. That is a tremendous danger for all of us, but especially for the younger generations. And I'm the only candidate that explains that we here in Oakland can start a movement, a grassroots movement, which means a movement of just regular, ordinary people to start to reverse the direction of global warming. And we know, I'm guessing that you guys are studying history, and maybe you've heard, for instance, about the civil rights movement of the 1960s. Well, I grew up during that time. That I was part of that movement. And I saw that the real changes as far as racism and discrimination, they came out of that movement. That's how all changes start. And so I would like to be a mayor who helps to organize and to build a movement something like the old civil rights movement. It was the same, incidentally, as far as the campaigns for women's right to vote, for workers' rights to organize a union, and so on. So you ask, if you are elected, how will you support the youth in Oakland? Well, that's the most important way, is to help build a movement that will create a better world. And I hope that youth would be a big part of that. Incidentally, this might refer to youth who are a little bit older than you guys, but one thing that I feel very strongly, did you know that young people as young as 16 years old who commit a crime can be tried as an adult? They don't have the right to vote. They're supposedly not old enough to vote, but they can be considered as an adult and actually sent to prison for life for something they do. And people that old, 16, 17 years old, it's been proven that they're not adults in how their brains have developed. And I think that that is very, very unfair. You ask about what is your favorite thing about Oakland. My favorite thing is that Oakland is such an international city. We have people here, even in my own neighborhood, which is kind of down the hill from Montclair. Even in my neighborhood, we have people from all over the world. We hear all kinds of different languages. We have the opportunity to eat all kinds of great different food. And the more cultures that you are exposed to, the bigger of a person you become. So then you ask about 3 facts about myself. Well, number 1, I've traveled all over the world. And I did it to connect with the people of different parts of the world. I visited Pakistan. I visited Egypt during the Arab Spring and met with the people who were protesting and wanting freedom. I did the same thing in Chile just a few years ago. And you've probably heard about the war in Ukraine. Well, a few months ago, I visited Ukraine to see what the people there, what they were thinking and what they want. So I think that my travel is one important thing about me. I was also a union member, and I was very active in my union, the Carpenters Union. And the final thing is, aside from having 5 grandchildren and 2 children, I also have 2 dogs that are an important part of my family, as well as of our family, my wife and myself. So thank you for your interest. And finally, I would say that if you guys ever want somebody to come in and talk with you in class about, how we see the world, and also the fact that I'm a socialist and what socialism means, I would be happy to do so.